into the form where we preview the best races coming up over the weekend, and we look forward to our first group race of the new season. So to talk about the action, we've got the smaller crew back in with Letha sunning himself in Fiji. We welcome in Aidan Rodley and Bevan Sweeney, and this is what's coming up on the agenda. We'll be starting with the feature down at Riccarton, the Group 3 Winter Cup, race number 9 on the programme, then having a look at the other features on the flat. Can't be forgotten, of course, our jumps racing down there as well. The Coral Steeple and the Sydenham Hurdles. We'll be taking a look at those two features, our race trackers. Then we're heading up to the Winterless North for having a look at their best on the programme. And on Sunday, we look forward to the $100,000 Polytrack Championship, talking through that field and our best bets. We've found you more for the weekend. It's Winter Cup Day down at Riccarton, and Aidan, as I say hello to you, you'll be down on track. So what weather and track conditions are we looking like getting?
Yeah, I can't wait to be there actually, Pip. It's one of my favourite sort of weeks of the year with the Grand National. Winter Cup field's fantastic, but it is going to be a little bit wet. It says on our forecast, fine with evening showers, but there is showers throughout the day. Track's already a heavy 10, so it will be testing, and true to form, not a warm Winter Cup week.
Real surprise there, since we're still in August. As we do take a look at the feature though, and there'll be plenty wanting those wet track conditions here in our feature. The Winning Edge Presentations 128th Winter Cup. Very open affair. Bradman leads the betting at $5, from Who Knows at $5.50, and then you've got the two on that third line of betting, Bellardo Boy and Al Jumala at the $8. Speaking of Bellardo Boy and Al Jumala, we'll take you back to the Opanaki Cup. That's the first race we want to highlight. And Aidan, as we get to you, what did you make here of these two?
I thought Bellardo Boy was absolutely fantastic under a big weight on a day you just had to be on speed. This was the only race of the day there where the leader didn't win, but obviously it was a mid-race move to get Joshua Brown on speed. Adjumala's been okay, but I thought the effort of Bellardo Boy under the big weight against the pattern, I thought he was ready here to replicate his win in this race in 2023, the Winter Cup. Massive run, I thought, at New Plymouth. Bevan?
Oh, he was brilliant, brilliant, and we've all spoken about the pattern on that particular day, so you can understand that any form that's come out of that race meeting of a horse coming from back and getting anywhere near has really stood up. I thought Al Jumala was very good as well, but Bellardo Boy, 60 kilos against some very talented horses with 53. Can he do it? I think yes. I think yes is the answer. He's probably only down there because those Central District Group 1s have gone north, so they've decided to go down again. They wanted wet track conditions, but they'll be getting it Saturday, so he's got to be right on the mix. So is this horse. I loved this horse when I saw it down at Wingatui with Pip when we went down for the final, and it ran 10th on that day. And I thought, gee, this horse has got ability. And look, the trainers are very, very astute, and they've worked this horse out, Eden Royal Valor. Just racing a little bit handier. I think the horse has got a very good turn of foot. He's prepped for the mile, rock hard fit. There's some good runs in behind, tons of grunt. Vamos, Lord Darcy, they're all good efforts, and so if I did it, also a good effort. But if there's a horse that's finally sort of had the penny drop and using its ability, this horse has gone the right way, and I think very dangerous down on the minimum, especially being rock hard fit.
I think the Ormuru Cup form will be our key form guide leading into this. Royal Valor did run the quickest last 400 of that race, the second quickest last 200. His tons of grunt really did zip home, quickest last 800, 600, 200, and Victorian Charm was pretty good as well. But out of that race as well, Lord Darcy, who ran second in the Ormuru Cup before winning the Winter Cup in 2022. I thought his run for fourth was terrific. He drops 3.5 kilograms when most of the others are dropping just the 1 kilogram, so he comes in 2.5 kilograms better, only beaten a length and a quarter. So he adds to a really strong hand, and Bevan did mention it for Bevan and Robin Wilson, who train out of Ashburton. Next one we'll have a look at here is Bradman. This is a trial where he beats home Who Knows. Bradman had won at Trentham leading into this really nicely, beat home Chase that day. But Who Knows is a horse who's got to be respected here. Has won 4 of 13, does go up in grade, but I really like his preparation. A couple of really handy CD visitors here, Bevan.
He's flying. And he's been a wonder actually over the last couple of seasons. He used to be a bit of a rogue and break your heart. not now. Now, who knows? Look, it's just been a change preparation, up over ground, winning nicely through the 65-75 grade. And then Niles decided Winter Cup's it. So he's tried to freshen up, went to the trials. You'd imagine at the 1400 metres with Bradman, who's pretty quick off the front, that was the sort of result they'd wanted, and it was probably a fitness run to get to the mile quickly at the Winter Cup. I did see some work through the week, and that was extremely good work from Who Knows. So I do really think that Who Knows comes into this very, very strongly. Look, it's great to have the old stooges at the top of the book, good horses, good winter horses, and some very exciting younger talent coming through. I tossed up between two, Royal Valour and Who Knows, and I just couldn't let Aidan have Who Knows all by himself, as I've been with this horse for a long period of time. So I went with Who Knows down on the 53. I think it'll run more like 2,000 metres on Saturday, and that should play into her hands.
Yeah, I thought I might have got one over you again, picking your favourite horse, but I knew you'd be on side. I really like what we've seen of Who Knows coming through. I thought the danger was Lord Darcy. I really like Lord Darcy, and the horse I'd love to see win. You love seeing those horses carry the big weights in the heavy ground, and I'd love to see Bilardo Boy come out and win this. But Who Knows goes on top for me, lightweight and a key chance in the Winter Cup.
Okay, both of you in agreement in the first group race of the new season, both with Who Knows, and of course you can shop the Odd Surge too around her at $6. As we move on to the fourth gear, the Spates Summit Ultra on tap open handicap, where Victor Rouge is your favourite at $3.30, from Candle at $4.20, and then Express Coupe at that $4.40. Let's go back again to a key lead-in race here. They all come out of this, the River Plate Trophy, and Aidan Candle just saved all the ground up the inside here to score.
Yeah, it was a ground-saving ride, and that was certainly a big key to winning. But the other thing is she produced a much improved run. She's run the quickest last 8, 6 and 4. And yes, she hasn't covered as much ground as the others, but this was a really nice performance and comes into this nicely at the weights. So makes some of these horses better off after beating them last time out as well. So I thought Candle really good and hard to beat again, Bevan.
We have moments in racing where you kick the cat, and Candle's been up north, and I have to be honest, I've had plenty on Candle on plenty of occasions. Well, when you went down south, $22 you got there at Aomaru. I couldn't believe it when I saw it in the results. I wasn't here, so I missed it. Candle's a good horse. I did speak to Guy earlier in the week. He said, I could never get the horse to go on a heavy 10. Well, Richard's managed to get her to perform on wet track conditions, and she's going very, very well. Whether she wins here, I'm not 100% sure. She can really mix her form. I'm going to go to last year's winner, Street Fighting Man. I didn't mind that last start effort behind Candle. Sort of sat right on speed, was a little bit wide in the run. Will put itself there. Kate Hucock goes into the saddle, senior rider aboard, has a good record at Riccarton and at the trip. So I was going to go with last year's winner, but I wasn't convinced around this race, Aidan.
Yeah, it's never easy. They get down the chute and it can be different, especially for the first, 500-600 metres of that race. The ground can be different as well. But on what we saw last time out, Candle's a horse to beat, comes in beautifully at the weights again. So if anything like a replication of that run last time out, I think she can be winning again.
Okay, and I think Sweens' cat goes missing when trackside is on. Make sure you catch all the action from Riccarton. That gets underway our Winter Cup at 4:07 on your big Saturday. We have two exciting jumps races on the program at Riccarton. Of course, a Grand National Week. We look forward to the Coral Steeplechase and the Sydenham Hurdles. Let's start with the Coral, where Jesco is the favourite, $2.15 into $1.75. Last year's winner, West Coast, at $3.20. And then Ned Wynn, the only other runner currently on that third line of betting, at $6.50. Let's go back to West Coast and the Hawke's Bay Steeplechase here, and he was very good, Aidan, in behind Smug.
Yeah, he really was. It came down to a big battle, and West Coast had been on the flat, had been hurdling, and this was his return to steeplechasing. We know he is an absolute champion in this role, but first up, I think you've got to give him that run. sometimes in the Sydenham, you go back a couple of years, he was only running third in this race. He did win, the Coral. He did win this last year, and he'd won it in 2022 as well. But I'm just going to give him this one. I'm going to say he's going to need one more. He comes up against this rising star in Jesco. I think Mark Olligan, who is just the best trainer, will have him cherry ripe for the Grand National next week. So I think there's improvement in West Coast, and I think we'll see that. He'll have a run that'll sort of lead him into a Grand National this weekend. I don't think he can beat Jesco this weekend.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, but it was just wonderful to see the old boy back with a bit of vim and vigour at Wivell. We just saw Bury the Cash run very quietly and nicely on the day as well. Look, 73 kilos, champions can carry that sort of weight, but look, there's a champion in here who is probably getting 7 kilos off him. And I do agree with Aidan, he's probably peaking in 7 days' time in the big go. But he will be very, very competitive on Saturday, and expect him to run a race. Jesco, well, I'm not really sure how many superlatives we can say about him, because he actually gets to the front in these jumping races and wanders around because he doesn't concentrate when he's clear, but he's a clean jumper. He's got a lot of stamina. I see that Matt Hill's taken a share in the horse post, calling him home in this particular race. He's as strong at the finish as he is at the start. This horse, Aidan, going completely the right way. 42.50 doesn't scare him. He's not a West Coast yet, but he's rapidly getting close.
Yeah, he is. He's unbeaten in 3 steeplechases, and he is the rising star, but he comes up against a star horse, and that's the thing. He's been terrific, winning Manawatu, Hawke's Bay, Manawatu and Wellington steeples. Yeah, this is his time to shine. He'll be getting his biggest test 7 days later in that Grand National win. I'm not so sure, but I think this time round we'll just see Jesco continue this winning run. It's not just down to those two. There's a really nice field in behind them. We'll have a look at some others here. Here's Call Me Jack and Nedwin chasing home after all this time at Te Rapa, going back 3 starts into the Waikato steeples. The winner was really good this day, Bevan.
Very good. Look, the one I am interested in the race of the Kevin Myers runners is Call Me Jack. I think this horse is just coming to it nicely. He loves mud. He'll be getting fitter and fitter. After all this time, is a nice horse as well. I had a couple of runs post this. Been well beaten on both of those. Call Me Jack is probably going the right way. And I've had a feeling throughout the whole season that this horse has just been on this long, slow progression to the second day at Riccarton. So I expect Call Me Jack to be pretty competitive. Look, I'm going to stick with the ship that we've been with all season since we first saw Jesco at Wanganui. Jesco is a very, very serious horse, has proven that. The frat club's there. Matt Hill's now in the ownership with Sean and Hazel. Really lovely horse. He's got to keep on rolling, and it does get tough as you get deeper into the season. But I think if West Coast wasn't in here, he's $1.40. You're getting $2.15, so you're probably getting a nice price.
I see Lyell Creek's owner Graham Bruton in the ownership now as well of Jesco. I think he will keep winning. It's hard for me tipping against West Coast because he is an out-and-out superstar, and he's a superstar of Riccarton racing as well. I think he'll go down as one of the best jumpers of all time West Coast, and I think we might see that next weekend. Just want to see him getting the best sort of lead-up we can. Because I want to be seeing him win his 4th Grand National this week, though, Pip. I'm with Jesco to win the Coral.
Yeah, I'd love to see that as well, Aidan. Either way, it'd be great to see these two fighting it out. That's a look at the Coral as we now jump to the Sydenham Hurdles. Race number 2 on the program. Bury the Cash with the top weight at $3.10 is your favourite. From Dictation, Quid, they're both around that $4 mark, and Happy Star at the $6. There's been a slight little bit of speaking to around Mugshot, $15, and moving into the 14s. Let's go back to the Hawke's Bay Hurdles. The key lead in here. Never Look Back, Aidan, very good this day, winning for Gail Temperton.
It really was. It was a terrific win against all the main contenders in the Sydenham. Happy Star running second. Bury the Cash, who won this race last year, beating home Lord Spencer just in behind. It just seems to be an emerging talent, Never Look Back. This is tougher again, but on the strength of this performance against a lot of the key rivals, Bevan, you've got to have real respect about them. I thought Happy Star would be a big improver coming into the Sydenham.
I think Happy Star's flying. Never Look Back just jumped a lot better that day. Gee, some of it's jumping through those first few races and even the first win. sort of had me on the edge of my seat, but I picked up that win. Gail's a lovely lady and a wonderful trainer. Jumping was better. I think the track was a lot quicker than they'll find down at Riccarton on Saturday, so that might just hold Never Look Back, just jumping wise, just still learning a fair bit, but that was a really good one. I thought Happy Star outstanding. Bury the Crash, well, the Vim was back there, wasn't it? Going further will be a big assist for Bury the Cash. Looked really, really well. But here's the horse I'm interested in, Quid. Spoken to Kevin about this horse, likes it. And it's had now the 4 hurdles for a win and 3 minor placings. Runs through the pain barrier in the very, very deep testing track conditions. Jumped nicely this day, won very, very well. Look, it's a bit of a head scratcher that Mudshock's taking money, owned by Kevin, and does hold a really good hurdle record and hasn't been over the jumps this season. So that throws a little bit of a question mark in my mind. But look, I thought this horse was a serious contender going into the major hurdle next Saturday off what it has done to this point and going the right way, Aidan.
Absolutely. This was a 5-length win as a $1.40 favourite and ran 12 lengths faster than the Hawke's Bay Hurdles on the same day. That was Never Look Back, Happy Star and company. It says a lot about Quid and the potential there. I'm going outside our videos for my top selection. I'm going with Dictation. I thought the win in the Waikato Hurdles 2 starts back was superb. Beat home Never Look Back, beat home Lord Spencer. That form's been franked in the Hawke's Bay Hurdles and was a 5-length winner of the 0-1 win hurdle last year at Riccarton. So you've got that Riccarton form on the board for a horse who hails from a key jump stable of Paul Nelson and Karina McDougall. I thought Dictation was the horse to beat.
Well, I think Kevin's got a massive hand, not just in this race, but across the program. I'm going to go with Quid. Just really rated this horse. Got my first interview with Kevin for about 40 years around this horse at Trentham, so been a bit of a fan of the horse for a long period of time. I think it's coming nicely. Maybe next Saturday is where you see the very, very best, but I think it'll be very, very competitive, and I think Quid is a really nice horse. I think Kevin's also got some very strong flat chances as well.
Okay, and follow the Myers stable, and of course Aidan is with the Nelson McDougall team. Catch all of that action. What a big day out of Riccarton on Saturday from 11 a.m. Time for our race trackers. Make sure you note these ones down. Aidan, we start with you. Who caught your eye?
I'm going to take you back to Te Rapa last weekend, and after going through videos, this was the horse that got me. Ali McFab, who was very good from the front in a race that really did favour those horses who were swooping down the outside. I thought it was just a terrific effort. It was the home track and obviously performing really well on the home track, but Ali McFab, really nice. I thought it was a brave performance from one who's won 2 from 3 and has plenty of upside.
I'm going to take you back to Waverley and one that went around in the last subtle tease. It was only 16.50, but this horse went 2,000 metres and they flushed wide on the top of the straight. The other horse has to run last. The winner, Sanduku, scooted through the inside. Good ride from Craig. So this horse had the audacity to come back and run second after being 3 wide the entirety and flush wide on the corner. It's close to a win, subtle tease. Keep it in your race trackers.
And I'm taking you back to Te Rapa as well here. This rating 65 over the 1,200 metres. Florin was absolutely just flat when jumping out of the gates off the pace here, but has flown home to finish the last fastest sectionals across the board here. The fastest 2, 4, 6 and 8. Really eye-catching on the day. So Florin for me was actually in the fields at Ruakaka, but comes out of that rating 75. So look for the Michael Wallace stable in the following weeks. Here's a summary. Al McFab for Aidan, Bevan with subtleties, and I'm with Florin. We head up north to Ruakaka for our second domestic meeting. Now, Aidan, I know you'll be down south, but weather and track conditions up north, what are we getting?
Yeah, a little bit better than what we'll get in Christchurch for sure, Pip. The weather seems to be that the rain will hold off there in the north. So we have actually got a track that should play really well. They are putting the rail into the 4-metre position after being at 9. That's basically as close to the rail as it goes. Currently it's soft 6, so I think we're going to be playing on a pretty good track at Ruakaka.
Okay, that's what I think trainers will be wanting with some of these runners up here as we take a look at the first on the program. That's the one we want to touch on. Love the Sort, favourite $2.15 here for Sean Ritchie and Cole Murray. Then you've got Cashla Bay back and fresh for the Forsman barn at $2.45, the other runner supported in the market. Let's go back to Love the Sort, a winner here on the Cambridge Synthetic. Aidan, what did you make of it?
Yeah, really nice performance. It's just how this poly form goes, up on a better track. But to be fair, it comes into a race with not much depth. I've got to say, I thought the Riccarton 3-year-old race was far stronger, had far more depth than what we see in this Ruakaka race. But like what I saw from Love the Sort, looks to be a promising type, Bevan.
Promising type. Has a real daisy cutter action, doesn't it? Really hunches down and hits the ground hard and will skip across some pretty firm ground. I think there was advantaged at Cambridge. Nice horse, won that very, very well at a decent price as well on debut. I agree. How does that transfer to a softish track up at Ruakaka? Not sure the other way around. Cashla Bay's got experience on the board. They haven't given this horse a trial into Saturday. Matt Cartwright is in the saddle. It'll put itself right on speed. It was up against some nice types. It was close to Costa at Waverley 3-back, then won at Matamata on a heavy 8. Then put up a good effort to Te Rapa behind Towering Vision. It was only 4.5 lengths away. To me, Aidan, this is the obvious form line to follow into this race.
I think you go right back to the very start of Cashla Bay's racing career and you get the best form. And that was when the horse ran 5th of 6, but was only beaten 2 lengths by Return to Conquer. Return to Conquer went unbeaten into winning a Sistema Stakes at Group 1 level. So there's that type of form. Obviously handled a wet track when winning at Matamata that day. Has been given to freshen up with Matt Cartwright coming back. So yeah, it looks to be a key winning chance, and that's where I went for my top selection, Bevan.
I'll go with Cashla Bay as well. I just think the experience is there. I don't even mind the price being second favourite in this particular race. Matt Cartwright, Andrew Forsman combined pup.
You like her form as well. That was race number 1. Now let's move on to race number 6 on the program. The rating 75 here for the milers. Slovakia, $1.95 favourite. She's been backed into that quote from Nancy. She wrote at $4 and Tide and Time. They all have form on this track recently at $4.20. Let's show you Slovakia first. She was back against her own age group here, Aidan, and she just let down late out wide to score.
Yeah, it was a pretty good effort because they weren't really coming, wide and sweeping like this. So she's going really nicely. Yeah, just look in the race book, you'll see she's a 3-year-old filly. Just all ages in these form guys just haven't been updated. So obviously they're a year older than what they are in the TAB form lines. But Slovakia goes around in the colours of Levante and Legato. Boy, these Ashcroft colours have had some success in recent times, and she looks like a really talented filly, well capable of winning this, Bevan.
Well capable of going further. She looks like a really strong mare now who will just keep on rolling. 1,600 metres again. I'd be intrigued to see her get up over a little bit further. I think she's got all sorts of ability to do that. One that I've been a fan of, Nancy, she wrote, and she can run into brick wall after brick wall. She was very good winning last time here at Ruakaka. She loomed up, put them away. She wasn't heavily played on the day, but she won very nicely. Even with this 59 kilos, I think Neba can win again here.
Yeah, I think so. This was a terrific performance. Closed really strongly. It was against the race pattern. All those other horses had stuck on well from the speed. Runs the quickest last 8.6 from 4, second quickest last 200. Does go up 4 kilograms and meets Time and Tide 2 kilograms worse. But when you consider the pattern of the race, I thought Nancy, she wrote, would be very hard to beat. In fact, I made her my top selection. Bevan, despite that big weight, she's with, I think the hardest to beat.
I think the hardest to beat. I was going to be with Florin, actually, not just on Pips recommend, but she got it right. That was massive. It was up in a 75 as a 65 horse, but look, I'm going to go with Nancy. She wrote with Florin coming out. I think she's got a lot of ability, and she might just turn some average and inconsistent form around and put 2 together under Michael McNabb.
Yeah, and these are riding so well. He might kick his season off nicely there. That's what the guys are liking. Nancy, she wrote. You can catch that action. BP will be back on track with Leaf on your big Saturday. Kicks off at 12:45. on Sunday, we look forward to the $100,000 Polytrack Championship. So Bevan, an exciting field here and a big field too for the championship final.
Yeah, it's a really good race. There's 2 or 3 horses that have been extremely consistent on the synthetic track, which makes it pretty interesting. Look, we won't have too much mystery around how the track is going to play on Sunday. Gee, it's been wet down here, not forecast either. I'm not sure how much Awapuni has got, but a lot of rain has fallen. But we're on the synthetic, so we can rest easy that we'll get to similar sort of conditions to previous race meetings there through the last few Sundays in the Central Districts.
And the feature on the program too is later on in the card. Race number 7, Cosentino favourite at $2.70, from Stony Brick at $5.50, Lhasa at $6, and then you've got Brancaforte at $7.50. Let's go back to your favourite, winning last time here over the 1,000 metres in rating 90 handicap for Kevin and Stephen Gray. And obviously they do sometimes favour the on-pace race runners here, Bevan, but this was some performance.
Yeah, he's a really nice 4-year-old near Cosentino, and I will say Kevin and Stephen Gray have got some very, very good young horses in the stable, and I think he'll make a major impression into the next season in the Central District. Bruno's aboard. Draw's going to be slightly niggly because the pedal will be down here. They'll be really hard down and they'll be going as quick as they can, as they did last year in this particular race. There'll be no breathers for any horse. Cosentino, I think, might be the most talented to come out of this race into his 4-year-old season. He's going well. The team's going well. Bruno's going well. There's a lot of things that says that he should be favourite, Aidan.
Yeah, I agree. Very strong form. The concern is that wide barrier draw, and if they do go really hard, how much work does a horse have to do? But yeah, I agree. The form lines, I think that the yardstick leading into this, there's a couple of decent horses coming out of a Cambridge lead-up. Have a look at Vittorio Veneto and Brancaforte running 1 and 2. Lhasa further back in the race, well, just getting a little bit better at the weights this time round. Brancaforte drops nicely into this as well, and certainly the best walk from Brancaforte was late, and again another horse who drops beautifully into this at the weights. But really nice performance from Vittorio Veneto, and any replication of this from a horse who does have that tactical speed, then it's in the mix.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to work it again as well, because I just don't think they're giving up forward positions from inside draws. But you go through the field, every runner's got great credentials on this particular track, and you look at Tears of Victory, he's gone 2 for 2, another for Kevin and Stephen Gray. Brancaforte, from memory, was favourite in this race last year and just got back and flashed home, but couldn't quite get there that day. On speed was the place to be. I'm going to go with Cosentino. I'm not 100% convinced it can get across or how positive they will be. Price is pretty short. One that I might throw in is Island Hop at a big price for Kevin Myers in the Grieve colours. I think that might just run a race on Sunday as well. But I'll stick with the favourite just because he is going so well. But the gate, as you mentioned, is a bit of a niggle.
Yeah, I'm the same, and that is a concern, just that barrier draw and how much early work we have to see Cosentino do, but very good. Bit of respect around Stony Brick with the return of Opie Bosson for a $100,000 race. Again, a tricky barrier draw, but one who does handle a poly pretty well too.
Yeah, ready getting that Opie Bosson tax, and of course that feature does get underway 3:45 on your Sunday session if you want to tune in to the Polytrack Championship. Time for our best bets. Let's hope we can get you a nice little multi here home. Aidan, we start with you. Who are you liking?
Going for the short-priced favourite in the Coral Steeplechase. It hurts a little bit because we're going up against West Coast, but reserve judgment, I'm going to be hopefully changing my mind next week, although I think Jesco, this is beautifully placed to win the Coral. I just want to see a great race from West Coast in what should be one of the races of the weekend.
Cyprus was my race tracker last week, or it runs on Saturday, so I'll go with Cyprus for Kevin Myers. I thought it was an outstanding trial. They've opened about 3.4. It's quite a good big field. Tina goes aboard. Really nice horse, close up Mate way last time. And I see the bookmakers haven't missed Kevin's 3-year-old and Ruby Rosa. It'll be shown as a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Ruby Rosa is a talent as well.
I'm going for the Peter Snowden runner in the 4th at Rosehill. The congratulations, James McDonald handicap. He rides this filly second up, $1.90, already into $1.65, but she flashed home last start over the 1,200 metres up to the 1,400. And I do think Gornell Mare for the new season is the one to beat in the 4th, so chuck her through your multis. Let's have a look at a summary. Rosso will start us off on Friday. Not okay, first day of the new season there in the 3rd. The Whale with Pretty in Pink at Alexandra Park on Friday. Aiden's with Jesco, Bevan's with Cyprus, and I'm with Tuileries. And that does complete the form, as always, thanks to Aiden and Bevan. And that wraps us up. Make sure you tune in next week. A brand new form live from 10 a.m.